Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 323. I am your host, Reid Murphy.
I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Look at the show. I'm the captain now.
Welcome to the fucking show.
Fuck Scott.
That's right, folks. Welcome to College Shame Day presented by the 323 Network. I am your host, Scott Ellia, on an all right Monday morning. I mean, it's great that it's the National Championship tonight. Cannot wait. But, Martin Luther King Day. And there's nobody else that I would rather spend Martin Luther King Jr. Day with than Reid Murphy, the Godfather, the all-seeing eye here at the 323 Network. How you doing, Reid?
I'm doing pretty good on this Victory Monday, for this. Yeah. For all these people in the DMV and DC. There's another type of Victory Monday happening, of course, on this day. That's that's whatever. If that's your victory, that's your victory. I don't know, but I'm feeling good on this Martin Luther King Day. I am, I'm the dream. Look at me.
You are the dream. And after today, Reid, one of these two teams, their dream's going to come true. The other one's just going to turn into a nightmare between Ohio State and Notre Dame. And I'm hoping that it's going to be Ohio State losing. I mean, talk about just a shitty game that nobody wants to support. I mean, you have the Ohio State faithful and everything that comes along with that fan base. I mean, they are the Dallas Cowboys of college football. I'd be either them or Alabama. And then Notre Dame trying to maintain any kind of like social relevance based off of success that they had before either one of us were born.
Right.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, pretty sure.
So I guess they're the Yankees trying to hold on to those titles that are, was before desegregation. What do I know? But that's right, folks. We're here to break down another exciting week in college football as we head towards the college football championship game. So, Reid, I say let's just dive into got some big stories, some key controversies that are shaking up the world. And also, folks, please don't forget to like, share, and comment on social media to be entered into our very last monthly giveaway for Fanatics gift card, because this is the penultimate episode. We will be back next week to kind of recap the whole season, the whole gamma of what college football happened this year, not just the championship game, but what this season had taught us and what we can look forward to into next year. But let's look at a quick little recap into last week's Cotton Bowl Classic of Ohio State and Texas. Ohio State defeating Texas 28-14 to clinch a spot in the college football playoff championship. Buckeyes defensive end Jack Sawyer sealed the game with an 83-yard fumble return touchdown. A play easily for the history books as the longest defensive touchdown in college football playoff history, which is also kind of I don't know if that's something you really want to put your feather, in your cap about, because I mean, how long is the college football playoff history? 10 years.
But it sounds good.
It sounds nice.
Like, it's just like when we say, like, this is the best episode in the history of the show.
It is.
It is.
It is.
It might be 2 years, but it's, hey, history.
I mean, right. I mean, talk about history. I mean, Jack Sawyer, he looks like he's going to be easily a first round, if not a very high second round draft pick. And a lot of NFL teams could use his assistance on the defensive side of the ball. My question to you, Reid, going back to that fumble return for a touchdown, what do you think was the turning point in this game? Was it Sawyer's incredible fumble return, or do you feel like it was something else?
I don't know necessarily if I would say it was the turning point, but it was the soul crusher,
game changer.
That was the effective just ending moment. You just know in every football game, right? Where there's just there's a little thing, a little moment that can, even if there's 5 minutes left in the game, it happens, boom, there's no coming back from it. This is all the momentum. This is the destiny for it. That was that play right there.
Absolutely. I mean, it wasn't even just him, but Quinshon Judkins had 2 rushing touchdowns for Ohio State, and also quarterback Will Howard and his near 300-yard passing day for Ohio State. So I think it was just the total just play on both sides of the ball. Ohio State just had it going from the get-go. Quinn Ewers, though. Quinn Ewers news, he has declared for the NFL draft. I mean, he kept Texas alive with a little over 280 yards passing and 2 scores in that loss against Ohio State. My question to you, Reid, really quick for Quinn Ewers before we keep moving forward and then get into the Orange Bowl, which was, in my opinion, worth the squeeze.
Yeah.
Do you feel Quinn? I'm going to give you the over/under of round. I'll be aggressive. Round 3 for Quinn Ewers in the draft. What do you have? Are you going to take before the 3rd round or after the 3rd round? So I guess for you, is he going to go in the 1st or 2nd or 4th down?
I would say I have him projected probably about a 4th rounder. I would say 4th round. I could see him slipping like mid-late 3rd, possibly, just depending on what teams are doing at quarterback, depending on what the storylines, come out from his pro days and whatever as we go forward. Do you like this move for him? Do you think this is the right move for him as opposed to maybe taking like that rumored $6 million NIL deal to transfer somewhere else?
Yeah, I mean, because
going back to Texas.
Yeah, and we knew about that. I mean, me and you started talking about that about at least 2 weeks ago. When speculation started swirling about in college football. No, I feel like he should have stayed and just transferred out. I mean, $6 million. I mean, what's Carson Beck getting right now for Miami? 10 million. I mean, that's hell. It's 6. That's still hell of a lot more money that you're going to be making potentially, getting drafted. My question would be like, who was offering him the 6? Because if he's going to want to stay, not only is he going to want to get money, but he's also going to want to make sure to go somewhere that's going to give him the best potential for success outside of Texas. And a lot of these teams aren't going to just roll the dice. And, this late into the transfer portal kind of season, a lot of teams have already picked people up. So, I mean, maybe the opportunity for a team that he wanted to go to wasn't there or what have you, but hey, wish him the best of luck. So we'll see what happens. A couple other significant plays outside of that strip and score from Jack Sawyer with 2 minutes left to go in the game. Like I said, Quinshon Judkins 1-yard touchdown capping that long drive. And then Trevion Henderson, the second head to that monster backfield for Ohio State, electrifying 75-yard screen pass touchdown. Arch Manning came in though. Arch Manning had a little bit of playing time in that game. Had an 8-yard 4th down conversion. So looks like the keys have finally been handed over to Arch Manning. There was even rumors that Arch Manning might leave and go to UNC with Bill Belichick being there. So
Jeez. Oh my God.
Could you imagine just merging the families of Mannings and Belichick?
I could have honestly seen it, and I think that could have been a direct correlation to Texas and Sark telling Quinn, like, "Hey, man, Arch has got to play. Arch has got to play next year. He's got to be our guy. We're gonna build completely around him and put the entire spotlight on him. So you gotta skedaddle."
Right, and it's like, it's funny that you bring up Sark's name, Steve Sarkisian, head coach for the Texas Longhorns. He just inked a new deal extension on what was it, late Friday night, 7 years. All right,
good. I'll say deserved.
Good for him.
Deserved. I don't know if I'll say well deserved, but it's deserved. I think he's a solid coach. I like what he's done with the program. And I honestly, I feel really good about their future. I feel really good about their chances going into next year with Arch.
Well, speaking about next year, it's going to be very interesting to see how they start the year off because, yes, Ohio State heads to the national championship game to play against Notre Dame. We'll talk about them here in a second. But Texas, they'll be opening the season with a shot at revenge in the season opener against Ohio State. So,
that's a great opener.
That is, that's a great way to kick off the season. So I'll be on the edge of my seat from that on out. And then the second half of the national championship game, Notre Dame, they faced off against Penn State in the Orange Bowl, and they edged out Penn State 27-24 in a nail-biter. Christian Gray's late interception set up Mitch Jeter's 41-yard game winner. For my questions, Drew, are really quick. I don't know if it was poor decision-making under pressure or but I don't know if it's gonna just destroy his confidence from here on out. But like, I just want to know what was going through Juillar's mind on that final pass.
I think there were a lot of Penn State fans that were wondering that. I think there were a lot of people who were just had the same reaction as I did watching that happen live of what the hell was that? It's just it was insane, and you hope that that's not a confidence breaker for the kid because he has talent. He had a pretty great year for Penn State and leading that team to the moment that they made it to, but damn, dude. Like I don't know what happened. I don't know what broke.
Hey, well, don't worry about it because he hasn't declared for the draft. He's coming back. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll see. I mean, do you think that's a wrong decision for a quarterback like Drew Lohr? I mean, he's probably a step down from the Quinn Ewers of the world. He's probably kind of in that same chunk of quarterbacks, but probably towards the middle to the back of the pack of that second crop of quarterbacks outside of Shador and Cam Ward. Do you think he should just say fuck it and just go to the NFL and just try to move on, or do you think he just wants to get that chip off his shoulder and just prove to people that he can actually win the title at that level before moving on?
I like him coming back for one more year. I like the move there. I don't think his NFL draft prospects would have been particularly great. I mean, I probably would have him as of the end of that, and you know, looking at question making, decisions and all of that, I could see him at best round 5, probably closer to 6, 7 range. And I'm not sure how the money would look compared to what he's getting with the NIL with Penn State, and to come back and lead that team and to get more experience on a team that's ready to contend again next year and has a very strong chance of making the playoff again and giving yourself redemption and another shot. That awesome storyline, like that could really boost his chances next year to be a top quarterback pick. Not a top first rounder, but it's not going to look like a great quarterback class next year. This is a good one for him to contend for.
Right. And I mean, especially for him to come back, he's still going to have a lot of production staying on that Penn State football team. I mean, outside of, Abdul Carter, Kevin Winston, Kobe King, they are underclassmen who are deciding to forego their final year of eligibility to enter the draft. Everyone else they're losing, just they ran out of eligibility. So I mean, they're still retaining a ton of talent. So hopefully they can make a run later on. And then
Abdul Carter, man, like just real quick, shout out to him. Like some of the most insane awareness and ball recognition skills. Holy shit, that dude's gonna be a beast in the NFL wherever he winds up this year.
Well, it's like, and he's just and you saw that really cool moment before the game with, LeVar Arrington, Micah Parsons, and him, all famously number 11s for Penn State, all kind of just enjoying the moment pregame. And that was a really, really cool sight to see. So I'm really hoping that Abdul Carter comes in the NFL and just torches everybody, everyone. Of course, up next for Notre Dame, you got Ohio State in the championship game, and then Penn State, they'll open next season against Nevada. Cool. All right. But folks, before we get into that national championship preview, a couple cool little stories, actually kind of interesting stories that make you go, Starting off with Title IX, Reid, the U.S. Department of Education weighed in on revenue sharing plans, warning that favoring men's sports could violate Title IX. Payments must be proportionate between male and female athletes. My question to you for your take, should schools rethink their revenue sharing models, or is this type of guidance just a step too far?
I'm all for equality typically. I like the chaos that comes from it with these schools, because you see how much money all of these schools make, how much money the NCAA makes as a whole. Like, we've been wanting the athletes to get paid. Now, everybody that's been harping for that, and particularly caring about football and like men's basketball, you have to answer for it now, right? So I'm curious to see where everybody's general opinions go for this, and how many people either change their tunes, modify it. I'm curious to just see what happens in general, because everything's so wild and out of control with the money right now in college sports as a whole. like something has to change drastically.
There needs to be more litigation. Isn't the word I want. I don't want any more litigation, but there needs to be like more of a structural framework to the way that these NIL deals work. Like there needs to be more of a standardization across the board, so that way everyone knows the rules. Because right now it's still very much the wild, wild west. And then when it comes to like situations like this with Title IX, I mean, yeah, you want people to make it. You want people to maximize the amount of money that they can possibly make during their time on this planet with whatever they do. I mean, you could be selling cardboard boxes on the side of the street. I want you to make it the most money that you can possibly make. Same thing goes for these athletes. But at the same time, these are the same conversations we're hearing even in professional sports, you know, most notably the WNBA and the NBA. You know, how come the WNBA players aren't making what the NBA players? How come they're not getting LeBron James money? But at the end of the day, you got to look, okay, well, who's bringing in the revenue? And, you know, kind of sharing it from there. Because if you want to break it down, even just keep it to male sports, it's like saying that what the football team could potentially make shouldn't be any different from, I don't know, what's an obscure male sport that nobody watches?
Polo or rowing, maybe
some random sport, some random thing.
Yeah,
it's kind of it's like that. So that way, it's not so much male female conversation, but it's just male on male hate crimes. So it's just, I mean, and it at the end of the day, it's a business. So you're gonna have to want to pay the people who are bringing in the money the most, and then everything kind of trickles down from there. And if people have an issue with it, I'm all for, you know, promoting, you know, like you said, equality in women's sports and trying to give them the light that they deserve. I mean, hell, you saw it recently with Caitlin Clark playing for Iowa. I mean, I think that was the most eyes they ever had on women's college basketball, at least for me. I mean, it's just the amount of attention that kind of brought. And when you're able to have those moments, I feel like it bridges a lot of animosity that these kind of riffing groups have, because it's something that we all can enjoy. But I don't know, it's above my pay grade. Also above my pay grade, college football playoff changes on the horizon, question mark? I mean, no big changes yet for the 12-team playoff starting in 2025, but there's still plenty of buzz about tweaks. My question, me and you and Zoo talked about this recently on the latest Ricks versus Gricks episode. And folks, if you haven't caught that, wherever podcasts can be found, YouTube, you can go check it out over there. We talked about it a little bit about reseeding and what the NFL could do as far as changing their playoff model. My question to you, Reid, would be, you know, should conference championships automatically get buys, or should the best teams be seeded regardless of conference standing?
I think I am a little more for, you know, just the top records. And I think I'm for that across sports now, where, you know, it was awesome to see Boise State host for the second round and automatically get that bid, and who was it? Arizona State hosting. But you knew what was going to happen with Arizona State. Like we knew it, and it just didn't seem it didn't pay off for me that Arizona State automatically gets that. Like, it's cool to get a bid into the playoffs, but not like, you know, a hosting immediate second round bid. Like, that could have easily gone to one of these other teams that went out first round and would have taken out Arizona State in the first round. So I'm down for a reseeding. We know that with this expansion, especially with how much more it's going to expand over time too, that there's going to be tweaks and fixes. I was going to be a little surprised if it happened as soon as next year, but you know, I mean, it seems like they're listening and they're hearing people, they're hearing complaints and hearing things out, I'm sure, from different ADs too. So we'll see.
Right. I mean, they're definitely trying to make the most exciting product you could possibly make, right? But like, if you look at those four teams that got those automatic bids into, you know, the Peach Bowl, the Rose Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, the Sugar, the big four, none of them won. It wasn't just Arizona State or Boise State. Oregon got crushed by now national champion hopeful Ohio State, and same thing with Georgia. I mean, they got embarrassed at the Sugar Bowl. 23-10. So it's like
Right.
these automatic bids aren't even so much a guarantee to be able to even move on to the semifinals. It's like, and it's also equally difficult to say who's the best 4 teams. It's a little easier in professional sports because you're limited to what? NFL has 32 teams?
Yeah.
And it's all kind of interchangeable. You play people in your division twice a year, and then you play, I don't know the exact logistics to the schedule. It's crazy to me. But you get a more concise body of work, whereas the college world, you get teams saying, oh, well, we beat them, and they lost to them, but they beat them. So it's like you start going this huge circle around and around and around. And now you even have what I would have loved to have seen is a Michigan Northern Illinois like undercard game before the championship game, because those two, Ohio State lost to a 5-5 Michigan's team, and then Notre Dame got embarrassed at home to Northern Illinois. So it's just like there's no sense in telling who's the best, because if you want to say who's the best by who beat who, those two teams beat the two teams in the championship game. So it's like, why aren't they there? There's not going to be any right formula to this. And I think college football fans, the more casual ones, need to understand that there's so much more nuance to figuring this out outside of going to a whole pro style model. And then actually, like, instead of having your Power 4 conferences, your Division 1 having 100 teams, maybe you trim it down to 40. You have Division 1, Division 1A, and Division 1B. Maybe you do it kind of a relegation system that the Premier Leagues do. Maybe you do it that way. I have no idea.
It's just this whole thing. Like, even looking at this year's bracket, right? Like I'm looking at this right now, where, you know, Oregon number 1. Like, if you're just going off of a seeding, right, and just looking at it purely as seeding, not even with the titles. Like, Oregon at number 1, you make that argument. Sure, cool. Georgia 2, sure, okay. Boise State at 3, and then Arizona State at 4. Just in overall seeding, you're like, huh? Wait a minute. Like, like it makes a little more sense. Like, over on, you know, the one side where Penn State took on SMU. Like, that's where, like, you have schools like this, SMU, and they got knocked out immediately. Indiana, rest in peace, Siggs. He's still with us, but he's not in the bracket. You know, they got taken out immediately by Notre Dame. I could have seen, like, let's say Clemson here. I could have seen Clemson taking down an Arizona State. I could have honestly seen it, either Clemson or Tennessee taking down Arizona State or Boise State and advancing to the second round, as opposed to having Boise State and Arizona State immediately there and getting that much of a bigger chance and a bigger step towards a championship that I don't think they truly rightfully deserve, just because they got a conference title in a conference that, you know, what the hell are we doing?
It's like the NFC South.
Right. It's all they're the NFC South. Yes. All of the South.
Well, you know, and you bring up Clemson, and that'll be the last little, you know, news to know before we get into the championship preview. We'll have like a little conversation, and we'll let these fine folks go off and enjoy the rest of their Martin Luther King inauguration national championship Monday. Hopefully they're off. I'm off. You're off.
I'm off.
I got nothing to do. I put my couches together already, so I'm just going to relax and enjoy my fat ass on the couch for a little bit today. But the ACC, they're looking at actually making some changes. Jim Phillips is rethinking. Jim Phillips is the president of the ACC conference, by the way. Rethinking how the ACC crowns a champion. Options include, and I want to know which you prefer at this point, Reid. A bye week for the regular season champion, or restructuring the final weekend into semifinals. Which do you prefer? So they would restructure the final weekend into semifinals. So you'd have the top 4 teams playing each other. And so 1 plays 4, 2 plays 3. And then whoever wins that goes into the championship, rather than having it just be the top 2 seeded at that point. Do you prefer traditional title games like that, where the top 2 in the conference play each other just automatically? Or do you think adding this playoff-like final weekend spin could bring a little bit more chaos, which is what we all like here at Shame Day?
It would for sure bring chaos, and we are down with chaos. But at some point, do we get too much chaos? Can we get too much playoffs? Like, and I know the college football playoff is not going to think that way when we inevitably have 64 teams going at it within like 5 years. But
just have it be December madness at this point. Just stop the season at Thanksgiving weekend. Just stop the season there, and then all December is just a massive football playoff, just like March Madness going into January.
It's like the NBA with the play-in tournament. I don't get it. Like, why are we doing it? And then, like, can't just put somebody in the final seed and let them get knocked out? Just like we do all this just for them to not even get close to the championship. Like just do the normal shit, and then we'll move forward.
Well, it's crazy too, because if you look at the ACC standings from this year, if like that top 4 scenario was enacted, you'd have SMU playing Syracuse and then Clemson playing Miami.
We don't want.
Well, even that probably was a little bit shaken up because these are the final standings. I would love to have seen. I would have loved to have remembered what the standings were going into that final weekend. But hey, oh well. I guess we'll put a pin in that for next year.
The past is the past. I do have a little news to note thing that it just a little bits and cutlet that I'd like to get your thoughts on.
Tommy Cutlets?
The transfer portal. Not Tommy Cutlets, but the transfer portal. The potential for the portal, what do we call it?
The open market?
Open market, sure, yeah. Having that being moved to after bowl season. I heard that conversations and talks on that. How do you feel about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, because you have all these players leaving and going in, and like you have situations like now, right? With Quinn Ewers. We just talked about it a little bit ago. He can't exactly talk to anybody in the transfer portal because he's still playing in the college football playoff. It's kind of the same way like the NFL. You can't interview coaches who are actively in the playoff, right? That's a rule, right?
Sort of. I think sort of.
But no.
I think they're virtual, but but I get what you mean. Yeah.
But no, there needs to be stricter rules when it comes to transfer portal, because now it's just a transfer portal world. This is the way that teams are going to be sustained from here until eternity. You're still going to have traditional recruiting, trying to bring in some homegrown talent, trying to develop them in the short term. But come sophomore year, you're already looking at them like, look, we got to open a roster spot. Your best chance is to go hit the transfer portal now. You still got 2 to 3 years of eligibility if you didn't use your red shirt. Get out so we can bring another kid in and see what he has. And that's just the way it is. It's just going to be a revolving door. But you can't have the revolving door open at all times. I mean, you have to lock the door. You have to tell people, wait, we're closed. You need to wait in line like everybody else. So I honestly feel bowl games. We've had this conversation, my feeling about bowl games, but bowl games should be moved to the beginning of the year. That should be like your kickoff weekend, week 0, week 1, have all the bowl games that would have happened at the end of the year prior at the beginning of the year. So that way it gives people an incentive to actually care. Try to make bowl games relevant. But regardless, the transfer portal should not until the championship game is done. Final, streamers coming down, trophies in the air, Ryan Day crying, sad tears, Marcus Freeman crying happy tears. There should be no talks about this. And then you have all these situations of tampering, Wisconsin, Miami. You have all these like tampering issues and things like that, like to where like if those situations are found out to be true, the hammer really needs to be brought down, whether it's losing roster spots or losing bowl eligibility for the following season or two. Like there needs to be stricter punishments to negate the potential risk of that happening, I guess. But to answer your question, yes, it should be moved to the very end of the season.
I agree.
But that's the past. This is the present. And there's only one thing to talk about in the present right now. The national championship. That's right. Ohio State, Notre Dame. The line, Vegas is favoring Ohio State by 8.5, which I feel is wild. But then again, Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois. Maybe it's justifiable. I don't know. My big key matchup that I'll be watching in this game is going to be Will Howard's high-flying offense against Notre Dame's blitz-heavy defense. They say defense wins championships, Reid, But to you, who are you going to give the edge to? Is it going to be Ohio State's offense or Notre Dame's defense?
I think I have to give the edge to Ohio State's offense right now. They've been playing lights out this playoff. I don't want to because look, I had the bold prediction that Ryan Day would get fired this year. He would Ryan Day things up, and we were saying he needs to win the college. Everybody's been saying he needs to win the national championship to do this, and damn if they haven't looked motivated. If that team has been playing out of its mind. Will Howard's been off to these really great fast starts, and that's not what we were seeing too much during the regular season. He is like a different level right now. He's Joe Flacco contract year right now in this college football playoff, and it's performing well, and it's equaling out for great success right now for Ohio State. So Notre Dame's defense, if they can just get stops early and just keep things tight, sure, you got a chance. And pause. Keep it tight. They have a shot, but if you just let Ohio State, if we get off to like a 14-3 start somehow, like in the first quarter, it's not going to get any better. We're not going to get Ryan Day tears. We're going to get Marcus Freeman, tears and his hair streaming down his face. It's not going to be pretty.
And Will Howard, he needs to come out the gate running in this game because, yes, you're right. He is in a contract year because he's a senior, and he's probably going to be coming out of the draft. He's playing for a contract at this point. I mean, they're going up against a Notre Dame defense that's only allowing 3.5 yards per carry. So Trevion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins, who I'm very intrigued to see what they do at the next level. They're going to have their work cut out for them on the ground. But, if you're Will Howard, you're saying, thank Christ you have Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Egbuka on the outside. So hopefully they can catch Notre Dame with their pants down, being a little overzealous with their blitz packages and try to get the ball out quick. And Riley Leonard for Notre Dame, quarterback Riley Leonard, a true dual threat, strong running ability, often makes key plays due to his toughness and his competitiveness. That's another gentleman I would say keep an eye on because he's also playing for a contract. Fun fact, Reid, for the day. Ohio State has beaten 5 top 5 teams this season. Could they make it 6?
Is this the official time for predictions?
Yeah, I'm asking you who you got.
I, unfortunately, have got Ohio State. They're going to make it 6. I know. I'm contradicting my own bold prediction, but I can't go against how high-powered Ohio State's been this year. It's a weird thing to say I'm rooting for Notre Dame, right? It's a very weird thing. That's not something you hear across the country, especially like when you see the success that Notre Dame has already had. Like, have you seen the independent money that Notre Dame has been taking out of this college football playoff journey? Because
all of it.
Yeah, like Penn State, Ohio State, they each earned $14 million for the Big Ten, right? It's $28 million total. Texas earned $14 million for the SEC. All of this money, like Notre Dame, they've earned $20 million for their conference too. They are their conference, so they've just brought in all this money. No matter what, they're coming out of this a winner. And I like Marcus Freeman a lot. I think he's a really cool coach. I like Riley Leonard. It's a little date. Apparently, this is Jesus's team, according to Riley Leonard. They said God is going for this team first. So I don't know. But Ryan Day is motivated like hell to not get fired. And look, man, there is nothing like the work ethic of somebody that's on their last strike and knows they do not have. They do not have a backup stuff, and they are pushing shit out hard today on the fucking line. That's Ryan Day on this national championship. I think he gets it done.
I don't want to ride with you. But you have to look at this from 1,000-foot view. You had to put this in, and because we still do have some fans of Shame Day here who are casual college football fans, and they don't understand, or not that they don't understand, but they don't know the history that some of these teams have. And the best way that I can do it is try to draw comparisons to the NFL. I mean, Notre Dame, a team that was once gloried and now they've just been a bag of shit, and they finally found some success. So now it's going to give that fan base another 20 years of chirping. So it gives me Dallas Cowboy vibes. If the Cowboys were ever to go to the Super Bowl, let alone win the Super Bowl, that's something that we don't want. And then on the flip side, Ohio State, one of those top 4 or 5 teams, got a coach who just doesn't know what he's doing half the time. He kind of just stumbles into wins, and just the players make the plays. I don't think it's him calling the right plays. I think the players are actually doing all the work for him.
So he's the Nick Sirianni of college.
Yeah, it's just who would you want to win in the Eagles-Cowboys matchup? Nobody. You don't want either one of them to win. But Vegas knows something, and one thing I've always learned is Vegas always wins. So I guess give me Ohio State.
Yeah.
I was gonna hit the fanfare, but I don't want to hit the fanfare.
Nobody wants to hit the fanfare for the. Nobody can do the fanfare for that one. That's just not. It's
no, but you know what we can do the fanfare for? That was weird. We can do the fanfare for the fans. How about that? Yeah. The fans. That's right. You all at home, wherever you're listening, whether it's you're watching us live, not live, in person, virtually in person. I don't know. We're 5 years into COVID. I still don't know if it's in person or virtual. But thank you all for a great season 2 of College Shame Day. Like I said, we are not done yet. We will be back next week with a little bit of a recap of not only the national championship game, but just college football and what the future looks like here at Shame Day. Reid, again, thank you so much for joining me on this journey. And what do you have going on for the NFL? Because as we're recording, NFL playoff weekend is over. Moving on to next week. What do you have going on your side of the world?
Because we would normally do like a good Sunday hangover to recap the divisional round and, shout out to all those teams that are advancing. You got the Commanders, the Washington Commanders somehow going against the Philadelphia Eagles. Right.
I forgot I had that on my board.
And then the Chiefs are going against the Bills. That's that. We'll talk about those games and the divisional round recap. We're going to do that on Ricks versus Gricks on Friday. So you'll get your regular show. You're going to get plenty of show that day and all of our thoughts, all of our excitement. Maybe we've calmed down. Maybe we've gotten more tripped out. Who knows? You'll find out on Friday.
And I can't wait. Maybe I'll be there. Who knows? Maybe I'll be there. But I'll tell you one thing, I will be here next week. That's all for this week's episode, folks, of College Shame Day. Remember to follow, like, and comment for your chance to win a Fanatics gift card. It's the last one. And maybe I can scrounge up a couple extra coins out of the town coffers for maybe it's 25, maybe it's a little bit more. There's only one way to find out. Next week here at College Shame Day, we'll announce the winner on our next show. Until next time, stay loud, stay proud, embrace the shame, and have a wonderful Martin Luther King Jr. National Championship Day.
Yeah.